Creative Energy is the blue, red, and white colored Modern Horizons 3 Commander Precon. The deck's face, Suthya, Aether Flux Genius, makes an attacking creature copy of a non-token creature you control whenever he attacks. He generates 2 energy, and then, at the next end step, asks you to pay energy equal to the original creature's mana value, or sacrifice the token he just created. This guy needs to swing in, made easier by having both haste and menace. But he also wants you to have powerful creatures with minimal mana values or strong enter or exit the battlefield abilities. The backup legend, Kaith, Fame Mechanist, has and gives Fabricate 1 to each of your non-token creatures, which allows her and non-token creatures you control to enter and create a 1/1 or have a +1/+1 counter placed on them. She also has a 2-cost activated ability, tapping herself to proliferate, which puts another counter of each kind that's already on any number of permanents or players, or she can populate, which creates a token copy of a creature token you already control. She's here to help you make and copy tokens and or stack and increase counters. The modal nature of the ability gives you the option of going wide or going tall. On to the deck's goals. This is a token deck that tries to amass and use energy for powerful late game effects. It has powerful modal board wipes to keep your board safe as you wrath away all enchantments, but losing your board at any point would be a devastating blow. This deck needs to win through combat damage, facilitated through the many 1/1 artifact creature tokens, and supported by the various energy converting magic people. Now onto the tech. This is the deck that makes artifact token, from creatures to non-creatures. There are no shortage of artifacts, so cards like Brutaclad allow you to transform these 1/1s and treasures you might have amassed throughout a game into, I don't know, 15 mere battle spheres, which Kaith can then begin to populate. Though we will say one thing about Satya, and that is that a lot of energy makers in the deck generate energy on attack, which will not trigger when he makes a token copy of them because the token enters tapped and attacking already. Now on to the final grades. How well does the deck ramp and draw, or its consistency? In this category they are granted a B. There are fewer draw effects than you would want in a deck that needs to dedicate so many cards to the board. The treasure tokens make it even easier to cast spells, so your hand will always be or nearing empty. If you can pull it off, making a token of a solemn simulacrum and populating it is wildly valuable. Now, how strong can the deck be, or its power ceiling? In this category, they've earned a B. There are a lot of powerful effects in the deck, but they are few and far between. Pair that with a lack of tutors and minimal draw effects, and you are far less likely to hit the exact creatures you need without a very lucky shuffle, and if you have to rely on luck, then you're already in a tight spot. There are many potential game-ending threats, but they have to be resolved, protected, and copied before they begin to march you towards victory, and this deck doesn't really have the resources to do all that. Now for how permanents resolved will look, or board presence. In this category, the deck is granted an A. The field, when full, will be very active. Creatures and artifacts generating energy counters and treasure tokens through combat damage will keep your deck moving. But these pieces being so important will make them huge targets for anyone looking to disrupt your strategy. Remember, all the energy in the world and nothing to spend it on is meaningless. Next, how much input does the pilot have, or creativity? And in this category, the deck earns an S. For it to have creative in the name, this shouldn't be a surprise. Between Populate and Proliferate, both legends offer ample opportunity to change up your game plan mid-match as needed. That kind of off-the-cuff thinking is perfectly on brand for the colors, and makes each time you play it a little different than the last. Finally, how much magic knowledge is needed to operate the deck or ease of use? In this category, the deck earns a B. Energy, Populate, and Proliferate might be daunting at first, given that they aren't simple ideas at all, but we feel that once that hurdle is overcome, the deck does a great deal to accommodate those who wouldn't have selected this as their first choice, but are still really intrigued by it. That being said, the deck has a lot of non-bow effects that a newbie might misinterpret, such as why a token entering tapped and attacking doesn't count as being declared as an attacker, and there are quite a few creatures like this. If you pick up this precon, we would recommend upgrading it with more creatures that generate energy on ETB for Satya. If you'd like to use Kaith, you'll want to run artifacts that make copies of your creatures and other artifacts. If you want to see more or a particular precon reviewed, let us know in the comments below. Also be sure to let others know what they can add to upgrade their Satya decks. We've been Jada Kaiser, hoping all of you never stop watching the Wind Reaper.